Hello, wonderful wild ones. Have you ever, looked at the goldenrod that are around you or paid attention to them? Because there are some amazing little flowers, and the insects who love them, the birds who love them, amaze me and fascinate me too. So, of course, we're going to talk a little bit about bees and some interesting facts about bees. And there's a really interesting thing about goldenrod that I just learned I'm so excited about that I want to share with you. So first of all, as you probably have noticed, bees love goldenrod. And there have been times when I've walked through a trail, one of our trails that goes through goldenrod, and it's so thick with bees. I walk very carefully and they're just buzzing all around me. Unfortunately, this year isn't one of those years, though I thought it might be because we had a lot of bees in spring. But there have been years where I just walk through and every flower is filled with bees, and you just walk with a calmness, and they don't even pay any attention to you. They just buzz around doing their thing. One interesting thing about bees that some people have said is that bees will, when they leave in the morning, they head out and they will visit one type of flower only. And that really intrigued me. So I've been kind of watching over the years, and I've noticed from my own observations that seems to be generally true. However, I've also noticed that bees will visit a couple of different flowers, but they visit those same flowers. For example, the other day I was sitting on my back porch, and I noticed that there was a bee that went and visited a yellow St. John's wort flower. And I thought, is the next one going to be St. John's wort? The next one she visited actually was a timothy. I thought, well, that's interesting. And then went to visit a St. John's wort and another timothy, headed over, glanced at a heel log and flew right by the goldenrod, didn't stop to collect anything from either of those flowers, but went right back to another St. John's wort. And it just sounded interesting to me. I liked the idea of St. John's wort and timothy going together. And it made me wonder, can we ever know, maybe bees sometimes combine flowers deliberately in the same way that we combine ingredients in any of our own recipes. Maybe they make, things a certain way to taste a certain way or for certain purposes. That's something that would be of great interest to me to learn about. So bees are fascinating in so many ways. Of course, there's so many different kinds of bees. A lot of us are familiar with the honeybee, but the honeybee is actually not thought to be native to North America. In fact, I have heard that there were many native people who, when they saw honeybees, that was like a harbinger, a herald of the settlers to come. And so the honeybees would precede any white settlers that might be coming to somebody's home territory there, home native territory. And evidently, they have records of honeybees being brought over in the early 1600s, right away to Jamestown. Other things about bees, and again, there's all different kinds. Bumblebees actually like to nest in old rodent burrows. Who knew, right? Or in old birds' nests up in trees. That's bumblebees. What a sweet thing to know. Small carpenter bees, they like to nest in the pithy stems of things like sumac, or things that have it's a really soft kind of stem. That's what I mean by pithy stem, and you can hollow out that inner stem, and the bees like to nest in that. In fact, I know some humans who will use sumac stems to try to use that I've known one person anyway, trying to use that hollowed out stem for collecting maple sap from the maple trees. Very interestingly, I've never seen this in my life before, but this summer I saw must have been a queen bumblebee go by. She was huge, just huge. I want to say that big. And she had a smaller bee on her back. And I thought, did I just witness a flyby bumblebee mating? I honestly don't know, but it's the only time I've ever seen anything like that. And I've been paying attention, for some years here, and never seen two bumblebees go by like that. And especially one being so large, and the other looked very different. Its stripes were very thin instead of the usual wide bumblebee stripes. If anybody knows what that could have been, I'd love to hear in the comments. So let's get to the goldenrod. I love goldenrod just for what the flower is itself, as well as all the company of the bees it brings. It is considered a native of the North Woods, and although I don't like the terms that botany uses, botanists will describe goldenrod as a plant that clones itself, and those clones make up colonies of goldenrod. I like to use words like, gatherings of goldenrod instead of colonies. Colonies is a really negative terminology to me. But these goldenrod, in other words, in cloning themselves, that means each year that they come back, they are the same plant, just extending itself into ever greater number of plants. And they will talk about how goldenrod can grow in some very large, very dense clusters. And these very large, very dense clusters or gatherings of goldenrod, if you please, they are believed to be over, and get this, this is what thrilled me so much, very dense, very large clusters of goldenrod are the same plant that's cloned itself over the years. And that same plant, that cluster, is believed to be can live to be over 100 years old. A century. So when you're going down the road or you're walking through a meadow and you come across any of those really large, dense clusters of goldenrod, 100 years ago, somebody could have been walking through that exact same cluster of goldenrod. Not the same spacing or the same placement exactly, but that same plant, that plant's genetic self was there possibly over a century ago. What an amazing thought for something as beautiful and yet seemingly so delicate as the goldenrod. Pretty amazing, huh? All right, a few things about goldenrod, then the bees that love them so, and I hope you enjoyed that. Next time you see a goldenrod, say, "Hey, Elder, how you doing, Grandpa? How you doing, Grandma?" So happy to have you around. All right, that's it for now. Thanks so much, and as always, stay wild and stay free. We'll talk to you later. See ya.